Hey everyone, it is AJ here, and in today's video, we have a great one for you. We are putting up the brand new M2 Macbook Air from Apple up against the recently redesigned Surface Pro 8 from Microsoft. But before we get into the video, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our future videos. 2022 is turning out to be a great year if you are in the market for a new computer. Apple is continuing their transition into Apple Silicon for the rest of their lineup. Microsoft Surface is redesigning their Surface Pro 8 and introducing new innovative categories to their Surface family, and both Intel and AMD are furiously trying to catch up to Apple in terms of their silicon in the performance per watt section. So if you're in the market for a new computer this year, you have plenty to choose from. This video comparison isn't going to be a spec versus spec speeds and feed comparison of the M2 versus the i5 and the i7 in the Pro 8. Because honestly, when you're looking at synthetic benchmarks, the M2 would outperform the i7 in most regards. But in all honesty, the majority of people out there aren't going to notice in their daily differences the performance of the M2 versus the i5 or the i7. And both these devices, for the majority of tasks, are going to perform amazingly for you. Instead, this video is mainly going to focus on the benefits of each device and what the M2 can do over the Pro 8 and vice versa, what the Pro 8 is better at over the M2 to help you decide which computer is going to be best for you. Before we get into it though, I just want to say that both these computers are extremely well designed. They're both beautiful, they perform really well, and irrespective of which one you choose, I think you're going to be happy with both the Apple M2 in the MacBook Air or the Surface Pro 8. The M2 MacBook Air has had a massive redesign in the body over last year's M1, and the Surface Pro 8 is the first time Microsoft has really changed the chassis of the Surface Pro series in about 5 years. So if you're buying either of these devices in 2022, you are essentially buying what will be the form factor for the Air and the Pro 8 for the next couple of years, which means it's a really good time to buy either of these computers. The M2 MacBook Air is essentially the traditional clamshell laptop that we know and love that pushes the boundaries of what being thin, light, and portable can be, but it still has no touch or pen input. So if you want to get all the functionality that the Surface Pro 8 offers, you're going to have to buy an iPad and an Apple Pencil separately just to make it as versatile as the Surface Pro 8. The Surface Pro 8 is arguably the best 2-in-1 device on the market, and if you're looking for a device that is versatile, you really can't go past the Surface Pro 8. One of the first reasons I'd pick a Surface Pro 8 over a MacBook Air is the fact you can get optional LTE cellular connectivity on the Surface Pro 8. Basically what that means is that when you're out and about, you can have a SIM card installed in your Pro 8 so you can be connected to the internet even when you don't have Wi-Fi. Whenever I use a device without LTE, it is one of the major features I really miss. And I think once you've experienced the functionality in the ease of LTE, it really highlights the issues with hotspotting your devices. Another major reason I'd pick the Pro 8 over the M2 MacBook Air has to be the form factor and the functionality of the touchscreen. I can easily convert my Pro 8 from a laptop to a tablet, which makes it much more versatile, and being able to just click, press, and drag on the touchscreen has become second nature by 2022. I often find myself pushing on my Mac screen waiting for something to happen, but unfortunately all I end up with is a fingerprint on my Mac. If you are looking for a device to use for school or for work, you're most likely also going to be using Microsoft Office. Even though Microsoft Office is available on both the Surface Pro 8 and on macOS with the M2 MacBook Air, I just find that programs like Word, Excel, and especially Outlook work so much better on a Windows machine. I find on the Surface Pro there's so many more options, functions, and features, and on the Mac I find it's really lacking. So even though you can essentially get Microsoft Office on both devices, you will have a much better experience using it on the Microsoft Surface Pro 8 than you will on the M2 MacBook Air. So we've heard a lot of arguments for why the Surface Pro 8 is a great device over the M2 MacBook Air, but what about we flip the table and look at why the M2 MacBook Air might be a better choice over the Pro 8? I think the first reason for choosing the M2 MacBook Air over the Surface Pro 8 is really quite simple if you're already ingrained in the Apple ecosystem. If you've got an older device that you're looking at upgrading and you just want the latest Mac OS device, the M2 MacBook Air is a really compelling offer. I look at my partner, for example, she's still using her 2014 MacBook Air happily because the main use for that device is just web browsing. She doesn't need it for work or for study, and using it as a light portable device just to get things on the internet makes a lot of sense for her. Of course though, when we need to do things like sign documents, she more than happily grabs my Surface Pro 8 to use that pen to mark up on the screen, but for most of the time she's happy using her MacBook Air just to access the internet. And when we're looking at getting a new device for her, I know the M2 MacBook Air is most likely what she's going to move to because it's familiar, but it's also new. Aside from already being an Apple ecosystem, one of the big reasons to go for the M2 MacBook Air is if you're into content creation. Apple Silicon has seriously shaken up the content creation market with the performance of the M series, starting with the M1 processor. And if the main reason you have for buying a device in 2022 is to get into content creation, you really can't look past the M2 MacBook Air. Because if you want a machine that's mainly for content creation, but you don't need to spend or want a pro level device, the M2 MacBook Air is a clear choice because it can handle and edit 4K and even 8K video footage as well as all your raw photos. While the Surface Pro 8 can still edit in 4K, you are going to get a better performance out of the M2 MacBook Air. So there you guys have it. That is my comparison of the M2 MacBook Air versus Surface Pro 8, looking at the pros and cons of each device to hopefully make it easier for you to choose which device you're going to go for. Let me know which device you prefer in the comment section and why you've chosen it. Of course, if you like this video, let me know by giving a thumbs up, and if you want to supercharge the way your computer, hit that subscribe button as well. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Bye.